We are just one day away from the ABC 2024 presidential debate, and Trump is aiming to define Kamala Harris's far left record. This as 28% of likely voters say when it comes to Harris, they need to learn more, compared to just 9% for Donald Trump. Here with
That's not good for Trump. That's not good for Trump. That's the reason why when he got almost domed, people were so firmly committed. People were so firmly committed to their position on Trump that like it didn't even move the needle.
To help set all of this up, set up the stage, Fox News contributors Tammy Bruce and Charlie Hurt. Good morning to both of you.
Hi there.
Hi. Okay, Tammy. Good morning, Charlie.
Charlie Hurt looks like a buddy cop, like a alcoholic detective. So disheveled all the time. I don't know how. It's just, am I wrong? Doesn't he just straight up look like a fucking disheveled alcoholic detective who's just like always like, oh man, fuck. What? Oh God, I'm getting too over the shit.
Tammy, I'll start with you. What does Donald Trump need to do to focus really on her background, her policies? Because clearly 1/3 of the American voters don't know what she stands for.
Yes, and I think that's key. And this is why you suddenly saw Kamala Harris put up some positions, which frankly also look like word salads on her website. But he needs to focus on, as everyone is saying, and he understands the issues. That's why he's running. He's running because of the issues. But I think that it's key because this is also about transparency.
So Trump voters are 100% set. Have you met a Trump voter? In 2020 and in 2016, the overwhelming majority of Trump voters were voting for Trump. The overwhelming majority of Biden voters and Hillary Clinton voters in 2016 alike, by basically the same reverse percentages, 60 to 30 broadly, okay, were voting against Trump. Trump voters are fucking locked in, dude. They've been locked in. That's also partially the reason why Trump is outperforming his down ballot race. And the hope for the Republican Party is that those guys that, don't know or give a fuck about senators or whatever, they go out to vote for Trump and then they just like tick all the Republican boxes when they're in the voting booth. That's the hope. Because we know what happened when he wasn't on the fucking voting booth, when he wasn't on the ballot. 2022 is what happened when he wasn't on the ballot. At a time when the Republicans, all things considered, should have wiped the fucking floor, okay? In the midst of one of the worst inflation crises that Americans had experienced in quite a while, when midterm elections are seen as like a poll for the performance of the sitting president, that red tide turned into a red puddle.
Transparency. What is her problem with not doing interviews, with not speaking about the issues? And like, as an example, with immigration on her website, it's the same kind of word salad and claiming that the border is, there's fewer people coming over. And then she recommends amnesty, right? A path to citizenship. So it's the same thing people have heard. It's nothing new. And I think that he needs, and this is key, to remind people you can just look at what people have done, not what they say. And he has a history, she has one. And the problem for her is she's running from hers and he is running toward his. It's an easier position to be in. So it's about where he stands on the issues. What is he going to accomplish? She is not going to be able to compete with that.
Charlie, here are some of the flip-flops that she's going to have to address. She originally said she wanted to ban fracking, said that for years. Medicare for all, including illegals, a border wall, funding, decriminalization for everyone who crosses the border, and federal jobs guarantee. That was part of the Green New Deal. How does she pivot from these positions?
Damn, I hate that. Federal jobs guarantee, decriminalizing crossing the border, and refusing to do border wall funding, wanting to do Medicare for all, banning fracking. Oh, man. I'm not even joking. If she was running on this, okay, if she was running on these policies, she would be winning by like 10 points in every fucking state. It would require her to also have a little bit more riz that she currently does not have. Negative, she would not. That's my answer. Y'all are running scared, dude. Nah, too many people worry about taxes in the economy. Oh, No, she wouldn't. Older people would hate that. Oh man, that's crazy that you say that, because that's the argument that the Democrats used to present about preserving and protecting Social Security, because Republicans were about cutting Social Security. Now, of course, many of you are too young to remember that, and you only know a world where the Republicans are like, we're going to protect Social Security. The reason why you say that is because old people obviously like Social Security. Thank God for the fucking Tea Party caucus that stopped Obama from actually cutting Social Security. Jill Stein getting clout in 2024 is the new barometer of how bad the Dems campaign strategy is. Yeah, low key.
And how does she explain that to the American people?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really difficult. And I agree with Tammy that it is going to end up coming down to credibility. Look, Donald Trump is probably the greatest political debater we've ever had in American history. He went through the 2016 primary and knocked out 18 Republicans. He managed to knock out a sitting president out of the race before the first ballot was cast in a debate. But I think that what will be sort of surprising to people is I think that Kamala Harris will end up actually doing better than people are anticipating, because there's been so much hype about how bad she is with her word salads. But the problem is that as she will appear to do better during the debate. But the problem is that you're going to take whatever she says during the debate and compare it to all of those platforms that you just listed that she's already flipped on, and compare the tape from tomorrow night to all the other things that she said in the past. And the problem with that is not only does it suggest that she has no idea where she is on the issues, the problem is that it reveals her willingness to say anything she has to say to get elected, and that goes to the heart of credibility, and nothing defines a politician like credibility, either losing it or having it.
And
Trump
right.
has the credibility, and she does not.
You're right about, I mean, he ran the first time, I'm not a politician, and people like that because he's genuine. Right. We know where he stands.
And demonstrate.
No, you don't know where he stands. And no, him not being a politician and presenting himself as anti-establishment did work in the first time around, but he was the president for 4 years, you know?
Politician flip-flops, right? When they realize the American public doesn't like your old policies. All right, here's Bernie Sanders. This was over the weekend, and he was saying, no, she has not changed. She's still a progressive. She's just doing this to win. Listen to this.
I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election. Her views are not mine, but I do consider her progressive.
All right, Tammy, your reaction.
Yes, well, he used the word ideals. She used the word values. And when she used that word values in that interview that she did for 16 minutes, that was a wink and a nod to the left flank. That was what I just said. Don't listen to what I say. Watch what I do. We were also told by this team that they were going to be the uniters, that they were going to bring things back to normal. Their normal is chaos. Their normal is a bad economy. Their normal is crime. Their normal is an open border. Their normal are world wars. We've seen it now, and they are making the mistake of underestimating the American people. And that's where that New York Times Santa poll indicates, is that the American people, want change. After all of this, they don't see her as the agent of change. They see Trump as that person.
Okay, Charlie, quick reaction.
I love the way he says that. He said that like he was helping her out, and he's actually absolutely destroying her credibility as he says it. But, he's won from this. Nobody has gained more from the Biden-Harris administration.
They look at what the media says about Trump and then simply repeat it and swap out Trump for Kamala. Is so frustrating to hear. I mean, the problem with a lot of this is that Kamala Harris could message against a lot of this stuff in terms of like the warmongering shit, but she leans into it. So this gives Trump a phenomenal opportunity to present himself as a peaceful dove. And many Americans think about, like, at the very least, many Americans think about all these wars that are going on as nuisances. And then if Trump is saying he's going to end them, and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are presenting themselves as though they are going to continue them, okay, even if it's far more complicated than just like a phone call. With Israel, it's just a phone call. But with Russia, it's not. It's obviously far more difficult, and Donald Trump is not going to end it day one. They're just giving Donald Trump opportunities to present himself as more moderate on certain issues
than radicals like Bernie Sanders.
I'm sorry to say, but woman doesn't fit in ruling or in politics. The gamer. First of all, you're not sorry to say that. Okay? You're not. I don't know why you said, I'm sorry to say. You literally are stupid. Like, there's no point. I don't know why you said, I'm sorry to say. I don't give a fuck who and what their background is, like who's running, what their background is, okay? I care about what their opinions are, and I care about what their policies are. I care about what they're going to do. Are they going to help the American population? Or are they not going to help the working class? Okay? The gamer.
Sanders.
Yep. Thank you so much. I appreciate both of y'all being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
House, Jackie Heinrich is now questioning the press secretary.
Questions you would have to ask the campaign, and that is for them to speak to. And what I will say is, what I can say is that as far as contrast, the contrast can't be more clear. It couldn't be more clear. If you think about 4 years ago, America was reeling. It was reeling. In a once-in-a-generation pandemic, it was isolated from the world stage. Crime was up. The middle class was sidelined. We saw an insurrection on January 6th in 2021 that the former president led. And so, and you think about today, where we are today, 3.5 years later, we're leading the strongest economy in the world. You hear the comeback stories in places like Milwaukee, to Dayton, to Scranton, Pennsylvania. And so we have done what people said we couldn't do, which is turn the economy around, turn the country around, be a leader on the world stage. And I think it's important for Americans to know and to be reminded where we were and where we are. And look.
Why are we watching Fox? I don't know if you know this, but like, it's one, the most popular news network in the country. Number two, every single Republican watches it. Number three, there's a debate tomorrow between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. So don't you think it's better to understand the Republican angle of attack? And also, number four, better content than the fucking liberals, you know? So yeah.
And the president certainly agrees with her. He agrees with her, you know, her leadership, her policy decisions. He agrees with her when it comes to making sure that, we need to make sure that we stop what Maganomics, right? When you think about the $4,000 tax hike on working Americans. You mentioned Project 2025.
I fucking hate that. Even that. Oh my God. Maganomics. Because like there's a tax cut that's sunsetting for the fucking middle class. Instead of working to increase the taxes on the top margins in the top tax bracket, they're like, we're going to make the sunsetting tax cuts for the middle class permanent. I'm losing my fucking mind, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. No, she's talking about the tax cuts. When Donald Trump pushed for tax cuts in his massive, like Reagan-style tax cuts for the wealthy and corporations, lowering the corporate tax rate, lowering the top tax brackets marginal tax rate, okay? He also, obviously, as one does, gave breadcrumbs to the working class, okay? She's also talking about the tariffs, but Joe Biden said he was going to do tariffs as well.
That's something Republicans support, is a radical idea. A radical policy agenda that's going to do more harm to the American people.
Trump has repeatedly disavowed it, distanced himself from it. I mean,
and I said Republicans. That's something that Republicans support.
So this is not anymore being cast as something that Trump embraces? You just get that straight.
I mean, look, you asked me a couple things. You asked me about the contrast, why she continues to make the contrast. You have to talk to the campaign on her strategy and how they're moving forward. I laid out for you the contrast could not be more clear.
Dude, the idea that like Donald Trump is not pro Project 2025 is so fucking stupid. It's even dumber than like singling out Project 2025 as a unique thing for the Republican Party when it's not. It's just the Republican Party. What the fuck are we doing? Like, Project 2025 has already been implemented Okay. It's just an extension of like previous Republican Party projects that have been going on for decades at this point. I mean, it's fine to use it as like a tool to make people focus on what the Republicans want to do, but like there is no difference. There's no difference between Project 2025 and what the Republican Party has been doing since Reagan, okay?
Where we were when we walked into.
No, I know the name recognition is powerful. That's why I get really mad. That's why I get really mad when the fucking Republicans are like, oh, well, Trump disavowed it. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Oh, Trump disavowed it. Yeah, all of a sudden the Heritage Foundation is not one of the most important think tanks. One of the most important fucking think tanks for the Republican project across the board. Like, are we adults or are we just like going to behave like fucking children? Do you not have any object permanence? The fuck's wrong with you?
To this administration, when the president walked into the administration where we are today. And that's because of this leadership of this administration, the Biden-Harris administration. Project 25 is something that Republicans, not going to speak to the president, the former president on this, but that Republicans are pushing. It's a radical idea. We're talking about.
Like J.D. Vance is directly in the ass cheeks of the dudes who wrote it. It's a fucking Heritage Foundation. What are we talking about, man? It's more Republican Party than like random Republican politicians are. I care more about what the Heritage Foundation is presenting as the future for the Republican Party than whatever the fuck every Republican says. Every single Republican that is currently in office could be like, I hate the Project 2025. I don't know what that is. I never learned about it, and I still wouldn't give a shit. Okay? That's the Heritage Foundation. They write the fucking policies. What are we talking about? And with respect to Project 2025, while a lot of people have paid attention to it as a direct consequence of independent content creators, by the way, I don't know why we even consider this shit. Like, I don't know why we consider what Republicans are saying and don't look at what Republicans have done. 3 Supreme Court appointments. Every single one said they wouldn't overturn Roe v. Wade. What did they do? They overturned Roe v. Wade. Who gives a fuck what they say? How can you take anything they say at face value? That's why the Heritage Foundation is more important than anything else, because they openly signal what they are going to do. Then it opens up Dems for an attack on their inaction. They're playing scared. Like, there's never a moment where I'm like, man, I'm going to take what a Republican politician or any politician really says at face value. That's why when people were like really hopped up on the Kamala train, when people were just like going off the coconut tree, going Mamala now, Mamala forever, I kept repeating like, I haven't seen enough yet. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. There's some promising movements in the direction of responding to public pressure here from the Democratic Party that is unprecedented. Having said that, you know, I know how the Democrats operate. Turns out, yeah, they are going to run scared, and they have been, and they're facing the consequences of that right now. And it doesn't seem like they're going to change trajectory. Have you considered they're humans like the rest of us, and you should give them the benefit of the doubt? Why do you have to be so divisive? You think politicians are humans like the rest of us? 19-month subscriber, he's memeing. There's no way. There's no way that you're being for real. I don't believe that. That's a good bait though, chatter.
More radical abortion bans, cuts to law enforcement, cuts to education, repealing Affordable Care Act, and repealing the Inflation Reduction Act, which, by the way, beats Big Pharma, which is something that many elected officials tried to do and couldn't get done. The Biden-Harris administration tried to get it done. That's what I can speak to, and that's just a reality. That's what's in that agenda. That's what Republicans are pushing, and that's what I can lay out for you.
To the campaign, but the campaign's not holding regular briefings. They don't have a forum, a Q&A forum like we have here, and you're the spokesperson for the Biden-Harris administration.
I just answered your question on why the contrast could be more clear. I just answered your question.
It's crazy to me that the Democrats are literally like, no, you don't understand. The Republicans want to defund the police. You don't understand. The Republicans don't care about the American military being powerful. It's like, these are concepts that are spiritually right-wing, okay? Ideologically right-wing, spiritually right-wing. The right has always owned these policies, okay? You will not be able to shake the way that the broader American electorate analyzes policies. They're always going to, like, no one is going to the Democratic Party because they are going to be the real funders of the police. Okay? If people have this attitude where they're like, oh, we need to give more money to the fucking police, then they're not gonna be like, and I'm voting for the Democrats for that reason. If anything, you're maybe running defense. Some people might be fearful that the Democrats are not doing enough for the police, and that might be a cause for concern, but you're trying to give them assurances. But overall, no one is like, oh, I'm voting for the Democrats because they're the pro-police, pro-military, pro-patriotic party. That's not a thing, because the people that have those mindsets are reactionary, okay? And there is a much better, sexier alternative for them. The party that has been reactionary historically in their entire lifetime, okay? Oh, this is why I always say tacking to the right on immigration is such an idiotic fucking thing. I've been saying it since Joe Biden unveiled his, like, massive right-wing proposal, his massive right-wing border bill, where I was like, this is the dumbest fucking thing you could possibly do. What an idiotic thing. It's both bad politics and bad policy. How fucking stupid. How stupid can you get? You just destroyed any avenue of attack you could in terms of, like, saying how you're different than the Republicans on this issue. And not only did you do that, but you did that by capitulating the right-wing framing that, like, immigrants constitute a national security threat. Oh, historically bad.
Question about Project 25 and what it's trying to do and what Republicans are supporting. I just laid that out.
I don't think it was the question I asked, but I do appreciate the answer.
No, you asked me why the vice president's campaign, the Harris campaign, is not doing X, Y, and Z. I said to you, you gotta talk to the vice president's campaign, and that is, there's the hat check. I gotta be mindful to that. You know that. That is, I can't answer that question.
How about I try one different way?
But I can talk to contrast. You asked me about contrast, and I just laid it out.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Does President Biden define Vice President Harris as a progressive Democrat?
Look, the vice president has been a critical partner to this president. All you got to do is look at the record and what we have been able to do in the past 3.5 years, the Biden-Harris administration has been able to do. You think about the economy, you think about health care, and you think about these really important generation-changing legislation that are now laws, obviously. I just talked about beating Big Pharma. That's important. That was the Inflation Reduction Act that only Democrats voted for. Now Republicans want to repeal. They want to take that away. Taking away lowering cost for the American people. And so...
come on, go ahead. Be like, that was Trump's policy. Come on, Fox News. What are you doing? Say that that's Trump's policy. Come on, go ahead.
To be clear, lowering cost on medical care and pharmaceutical drugs and also energy bills, right? That's two really big part of the Inflation Reduction Act. The president is not going to be labeling the vice president. She has her policies that he's in line with.
A couple things that I'm always frustrated with, by the way, with, like, tacking to the center or the right for the Democrats is, like, a lot of people talk about, like, wanting to win, okay, and gaining a defensive posture in every fucking 4-year cycle. They're like, oh, the Democrats have to do this because they want to win, because they want to, they want to stop a Republican from gaining office. And then they tack to the right. And it's like, the question for you is, do you want that? Do you want a right-wing Democratic Party to run the country? Do you want the Democratic Party, which is supposed to be the other party in our duopoly that is at least somewhat different than the Republican Party, to be closer to the Republican Party's positions 4 years prior? Why did you vote for Joe Biden then? You should have just directly voted for Donald Trump. Do you not understand that? Do you not understand how frustrating this is? That I have to play this song and dance every fucking election cycle as an actual leftist with no real representation in Congress? It's so fucking frustrating. It's especially frustrating because it's not like my worldview is unpopular across the board. It's not. A lot of the policies that I would be championing are not like full-blown communism, socialism whatsoever. These are moderately increasing socialization in this country, moderately moving in the direction of a social democracy. Okay? I'm on board with that because that would genuinely do harm reduction. And when I advocate for these sorts of things that are unimaginably beneficial for the middle class, okay, The Democrats point to absolutely nothing and just simply say, no, they're not popular. You don't understand. We got to win these Republicans over to our side. It's like, no, they're voting for the Republicans already. I saw Hasan selling fent under the passageway on Boulevard Avenue. Yeah, things have taken a dire turn in my career, where I have to basically sell fentanyl under the passageway on Boulevard Avenue. What is a Boulevard Avenue? I don't know, but yeah.
That she has put forth in the past week or so. He supports her. He believes in her leadership, and that's what I can share with you.
We are allowing for a contrast with Trump, but not a contrast with other Democrats. Because Senator Bernie Sanders, for instance, said that he still views her as a progressive Democrat. He said that she's, in fact, not abandoning her ideals, but making a pragmatic play toward the center to win the election. And that sends a chill down the spine of some people who might be in the middle or to the center right, considering her. And when she's been trying to position herself as a more moderate figure now than she was in 2020, where does she stand exactly?
So, first of all, the senator is going to speak for himself. That's for him to speak to. I'm not going to get into I agree or disagree with him. What I can tell you is this president believes in her leadership and believes in her bold policy.
Okay. All right. This is the new ad. The best people. Let's take a look.
2016, Donald Trump said he would choose only the best people to work in his White House. Now those people have a warning for America. Trump is not fit to be president again. Here's his vice president.
Anyone who puts themselves over the Constitution should never be president of the United States. It should come as no surprise that I will not be endorsing Donald Trump this year.
His defense secretary.
Do you think Trump can be
Cowards, all of them. I hate these guys, man. They're fucking phonies. They're fake friends. Fake friends all around. Okay? Let me tell you. Bunch of fucking rhinos. Rhinos all around. I never believed in magic until I saw my dogs turn into snakes. Fake friends and phonies. They did not want the Trump agenda. When the gallows were calling out your name, Michael Pence, I said, believe me, don't hang him. I was wrong. The gallows yearn for Michael Pence's neck. Believe me, folks, they yearn for it.